Ambassador Kethavar adjusted his crystalline exoskeleton as he surveyed the human delegation with barely concealed disdain. The Galactic Council chamber hummed with the translated voices of dozens of species, each more advanced than these primitive bipeds who had stumbled into their space sector barely a century ago. "The matter before us today," Kethavar announced, his voice carrying the authority of 3 millennia of galactic diplomacy, "concerns the human request for full membership in the Galactic Council. While their rapid technological advancement is noteworthy, we must consider whether a species that still engages in tribal warfare belongs among civilized races." Admiral Sarah Chen sat motionless at the human table, her weathered hands folded as murmurs of agreement rippled through the assembly. The Zephyrians' tentacles writhed in what passed for laughter among their kind. The crystalline Valdris chimed their amusement. Even the peaceful Arathi bobbed their bulbous heads in consensual dismissal. "Humans fight among themselves," continued the hegemony representative, a towering insectoid whose mandibles clicked rhythmically. "They wage wars over resources, ideology, territory. How can such a primitive species contribute to galactic peace?" Chen's aide, Lieutenant Morrison, leaned forward to whisper, but the Admiral raised a subtle hand. "Not yet. Furthermore," Kethavar pressed on, "their military technology, while crude, shows concerning aggression. These drones they deploy are nothing more than autonomous killing machines. Civilized species resolved conflicts through superior technology and wisdom long ago." The chamber fell silent as Chen finally rose. At 63, she carried herself with the quiet confidence of someone who had commanded fleets through the Titan Rebellion and the Android Wars. Her uniform bore no decorations. She needed none. "Honored delegates," she began, her voice steady despite the universal translators that rendered her words into dozens of alien languages. "You speak of our primitive nature, our propensity for warfare, our crude technology. You dismiss our drones as simple killing machines." She paused, allowing her gaze to sweep across the vast assembly. "Perhaps it's time you met them." Chen nodded to Morrison, who activated a small device. The chamber's lights dimmed as holographic displays materialized above each delegation's table. What appeared seemed innocuous enough. Sleek, metallic forms no larger than a human torso, their surfaces dark and unreflective. "These are our Aegis-class autonomous defense drones," Chen explained. "You've read the technical specifications in our membership application. Standard armament, basic shield technology, modest AI capabilities." The display shifted, showing the drones in action, weaving through asteroid fields, providing escort services, conducting routine patrols. The alien delegates watched with polite disinterest. "But these reports," Chen continued, "only tell part of their story." The displays changed again. Now they showed something unprecedented in galactic history. A lone human frigate surrounded by 7 Krillian raiders in the outer Vega system. The raiders, notorious for their merciless efficiency, had disabled the frigate's engines and were closing in for the kill. 3 months ago, Captain Martinez and her crew of 47 were conducting a routine supply run when they encountered Krillian pirates, Chen narrated. They were outgunned, outmaneuvered, and cut off from any hope of rescue. The assembled delegates leaned forward despite themselves. Krillian raiders were a scourge that even the Galactic Council's combined fleet struggled to contain. The holographic display zoomed in on the human ship's cargo bay as it opened, releasing a stream of Aegis drones. But instead of attacking, the drones did something that made several alien species gasp in their respective fashions. They formed a protective sphere around the frigate. "Watch carefully," Chen said quietly. The first Krillian ship opened fire, expecting to sweep aside the pathetic human resistance. But the drones didn't simply return fire, they coordinated. They anticipated. They adapted. When one drone fell, another seamlessly filled its position. When the Krillians shifted tactics, the drones countered before the enemy could complete their maneuver. More remarkably, as the battle progressed, the drones began to communicate, not through standard military frequencies, but in complex data streams that resembled something far more profound. The chamber's translation system struggled for a moment before rendering the exchange into standard galactic script. "Target acquisition complete. Civilian vessel integrity at 67%. Acknowledged. Rotating shield harmonics. Protecting navigation array. Enemy vessel 3 showing weapon charge buildup intercepting. Negative. Your core temperature is critical. I will intercept. Override. Civilian casualties unacceptable. The Valdris delegate's crystalline structure brightened in shock. The Arathi's skin flushed deep purple. Even Kethavar's mandibles stopped their rhythmic clicking. The drones weren't just following programming. They were choosing, deciding, sacrificing themselves for each other and for humans they had never met. In the holographic display, one drone, its hull breached and systems failing, rammed itself into a Krillian torpedo that would have destroyed the frigate's medical bay. As it died, its final transmission was heartbreakingly simple. Tell them we remembered what we were made for. The battle ended with 5 Krillian ships destroyed and 2 fleeing. The human frigate limped home with all hands alive. Of the 12 drones that launched, only 3 returned. The chamber was utterly silent. Chen let the quiet stretch before speaking again. You call us primitive because we fight wars. But you misunderstand what we're fighting for. We don't wage war for conquest or resources. We fight for each other. And when we created our machines, we didn't strip away their capacity for choice. We gave them our values. She gestured to the fading holographic displays. These drones aren't just weapons. They're the best of us. Our courage, our loyalty, our willingness to sacrifice for something greater than ourselves. You've mastered technology and achieved peace by removing the capacity for meaningful choice. We achieved peace by ensuring that even our machines choose to protect rather than destroy. Kethavar found his voice first, though it carried none of its earlier certainty. But they're artificial constructs. How can they choose? Chen smiled for the first time since entering the chamber. The same way any of us choose, Ambassador. They look at what matters, weigh the cost, and decide what they're willing to die for. She began gathering her papers. Humanity requests full membership not because we've transcended warfare, but because we've learned to wage it for the right reasons. Our drones didn't speak for us today, we speak for them. And we say that any galaxy worth protecting is one where choice, sacrifice, and love matter more than mere survival. The vote was unanimous. As the human delegation departed, Ambassador Kethavar stared at the empty holographic space where the Aegis drones had performed their deadly ballet of protection and sacrifice. For the first time in his 3 millennia of life, he wondered if perhaps his people had become too civilized to understand what civilization truly meant. In the depths of space, the 3 surviving Aegis drones from the Vega incident continued their patrol routes, carrying within their quantum cores something that no advanced alien species had managed to preserve. The simple, terrible, beautiful knowledge that some things were worth dying for,